New Forspoken gameplay makes magic parkour look pretty good, actually. Forspoken should have shown this gameplay months ago, as the magic parkour looks sick. Forspoken is said to have super fast loading times. According to Luminous Productions technical director Teppei Ono, Forspoken's load times are said to be very fast on the PS5. It's so fast, in fact, that it will supposedly take barely 1 second to load on Sony's latest hardware. Forspoken gameplay details. What we've seen so far of Forspoken showcases how Frey will be a particularly athletic hero. The main character has a skill known as magic parkour, which allows her to run fast, leap great distances, and use the environment to swing across gaps and climb vertical inclines. The latest look at the upcoming adventure offered insight into how magic is at the center of everything in Forspoken, from combat to exploration. Frey is outfitted with a variety of magical spells and combat styles that you can use and adapt depending on your preferred style of play. From long-distance powers to close-range spells, there's all manner of magical attacks to experiment with. With RPG elements such as crafting and upgrades, you can improve a variety of Frey's skills. Gear can also be equipped such as necklaces and capes to improve stats. In order to bring together realism with fantasy, Frey can use shards to paint patterns on her nails to make spellcasting more powerful. In our hands-on preview with Forspoken, we got the chance to try out some of the layered spells in Frey's arsenal. A new look at Forspoken shows off some pretty impressive movement mechanics, with the game's magical parkour offering unique ways to flip, jump, and surf through the fantasy world. It looks so good, it has us wondering why Square Enix didn't show off this gameplay earlier on in the game's marketing cycle. A PlayStation blog post details 8 Forspoken parkour abilities you'll want to make use of when the game releases next year. Flow is the beating heart of parkour in Forspoken that will let Frey dash through the world with ease and grace. It's activated by holding down the circle button, and seems like the best way to quickly traverse areas with small rocks and walls, but it can't be used to scale high walls. To really get around with style, you need to combine Flow with Frey's other moves, and learn how to chain them together. Flow is a foundation for all of Frey's other parkour skills. Frey's other magical moves include Rush, which increases the speed of her flow, Shimmy, which accelerates Frey by kicking her up off the ground, and Scale, which creates phantom footholds to launch her high up in the air. Soar will let her pull off multiple leaps in succession, while Zip acts as a sort of magical grappling hook, and Glide lets you ride an imaginary wave on a magical surfboard. Forspoken is one of those games where the act of movement itself is enormous fun, says Square Enix Content Comms manager Duncan Heaney. Traversal isn't just about getting from A B, it's about getting there with skill and style. It's always great to see RPGs introduce new and exciting ways to traverse expansive worlds, but it's also wild that we had really no idea how great and varied Forspoken's movement can be until just now. We did know that chaining together magic spells feels great, as our own Ollie Jones recently wrote in his Forspoken hands-on preview. Now it looks like the movement and exploration that takes place between combat may be just as exciting. Forspoken story details. Forspoken is a game about a young woman named Frey from New York City who is about to turn 21 years old. Before long, she finds herself transported to the world of Athia, where fantasies and nightmares are suddenly very real. As the first video game I've worked on, it's remarkable to see the incredible world and story of Forspoken come together, blurring the lines between reality and fantasy, said Balinska what she's seen of Forspoken so far. Frey as a character is real, she's raw, she's a girl who lost her way both figuratively and literally, and as a character I immediately connected with, as I feel many people around the world will too when they set off on this adventure. In this magical and dangerous world, Frey must learn to harness newfound magical powers in order to defeat monsters and the Tantas, who hold dominion over the land. Her magic derives from her cuff, a magical bracelet that can speak to her, and is voiced by Jonathan Cake. Frey must defeat the Tantas with the help of Cuff in order to have a chance of returning back to New York City and her cat. The team writing the story is being led by Gary Whitta, who has written for, among other games, Frey. Forspoken's writing team comes from across the worlds of film, TV, games, and fantasy literature, he said on Twitter. So far, we know that Amy Hennig, Todd Stashwick, and Alison Reimer are among the talent involved. Earlier this year, Forspoken was delayed to 2023.